if and when we move on from Coach Casey, who is the coach that is leading the Pistons back to contention? I've actually thought of someone new that I haven't told you yet. So I want you to go first. Who's your guy that you think that can get the Pistons to the promised land?
Oh, man. I mean, dude, it's tough for me to say because I don't really know. I sometimes don't always know if, like how you were talking about a couple podcasts ago. Look at Greg Popovich for how great he is. He still can't put a winning team together in San Antonio right now because the talent's not there. So I mean, I would love to see a younger coach come in with like a little bit of innovation, someone that is closer to these players. So, I mean, I kind of like Jerome Allen. I think he was a solid development coach. I don't think Rex Callman's the guy, but I wouldn't mind him having a shot at it. But also a name that we've always talked about is Jerry Stackhouse. So I'd probably go Jerry Stackhouse, but I don't know yet if he's the guy to lead them back to contention. But I know that, players love playing for him and he gets the most out of them. So yeah, that would probably be my answer, Jerry Stackhouse.
Yeah, I mean that's been mine for a while, but I thought of two guys recently because I see so many fans saying, like we need to fire Casey. He's 5 years into a rebuild. Like, what are we doing? And the two names that I thought of, one's a little bit older and one's a little bit younger. I'll start with the younger guy first, Kenny Atkinson.
Yep.
Now, Kenny Atkinson was in Brooklyn when Brooklyn was in the rebuild before they got Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Now, Kenny Atkinson had them winning games, and I believe they even snuck into the playoffs under him when they had all that talent with Jared Allen and Karis LeVert and Spencer Dinwiddie. I think Kenny Atkinson would be a good coach if you kind of want to get back into the playoff hunt. And I think you have the players to kind of get you there. You kind of have a foundation piece of Kate Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, and Jalen Duren. You have your building blocks, right?
Yep.
And you might, get another top 5 pick this year. Who knows? We're going to have to see how the lottery does pan out. But that would be the younger coach I would look at if I'm a Piston fan. I'm not even going to answer the Udoka question because I don't think it's going to happen. I know a lot of Pistons fans want Udoka after they saw that, the Celtics coach, I can't think of his name right now, he got a guaranteed deal because he's doing so well. I think Udoka would probably be out for the Pistons just because everything Troy Weaver kind of stands for of, being a good person, getting the person right. Udoka has a lot of messy, off the court stuff, and they just fired Rob Murphy for the same thing. And Rob Murphy was Troy's boy for over 20 years. So take that into consideration for all the Pistons fans saying, we should get Udoka. I don't think Udoka is going to be an option. The older guy I've been thinking of is Quin Snyder.
Okay. I like that too.
So Quin Snyder's been around the game for a very long time. Very long time. And, when Utah was a younger team before they gave Rudy Gobert an atrocious contract, when they had Donovan Mitchell, they had Joe Ingles, they had ISO Joe when Donovan Mitchell was a rookie. It was developing them and putting them in the playoffs year after year after year. Like, if I'm a Piston fan and I'm talking about like a realistic coach, I think Quin Snyder should be at the top of my board because I don't think you're getting the Mark Jacksons. I don't think you're getting, the sexy names. I think Quin Snyder to me would be at the top of my board. I'm a Piston fan for sure.
But do you think, let's just say they bring in Quin Snyder this offseason. Let's just say Troy Weaver, he's been going right. He just decides to go left and get rid of Casey this offseason. And they bring in Quin Snyder. Do you think we have the personnel in Detroit where he would find success with this team?
I just think he's that type of coach where if you remember before Quin Snyder did get to Utah was, out of the playoffs every year. It seems like they were always at the top of the lottery. Like I remember them drafting Dante Exum. And, everyone's just like, oh, this guy's going to be the next great European point guard. It never was. Like Quin Snyder got there. They built the foundation. They got their pieces. They got Donovan Mitchell. They traded for him from Denver. They drafted Rudy Gobert in the second round. They had veteran guys like ISO Joe. They had guys like Royce O'Neal down there. They had their glue guys. I think he kind of built a culture there. And Utah was in the playoffs every year. Now, did they make it to the NBA Finals? No. I don't think that's his fault. I think it's kind of, contract and situation. But I think if he were to come here, I think you would see more ball movement. You would see more body movement, more player movement, and more innovation than just these isolations that we're getting right now under Dwane Casey. And I happen to like Dwane Casey as a coach and, a human being. But I think Quin Snyder to me would be at the top of my board. Same with Jerry Stackhouse.
I was going to say, what are we looking for in a coach? I know we've asked this before. I mean, I don't know, I mean, do we want to see like more of a motion offense? Do we want to see more of like what the Warriors or the Heat are doing? Or do we want to keep doing the pick and roll, the isolation stuff? Like, what do we want to see from these guys in the new coach in Detroit? Like, that's what I'm trying to figure out, man.
I think it depends, like how you view the team. Do you view Jalen Duren as just a rim runner and a lob threat? Do you view Jaden Ivey as a point guard? Do you view him as more of a motion scorer? Do you view Kate Cunningham as a point guard or a small forward? I think those are questions you have to ask yourself as an organization. And you kind of go from there with coaching. And, these coaches will be in these interviews with Tom Gores and Troy Weaver and the whole front office. And I'm sure the front office have had conversations like this. We just haven't seen it because, they're not going to let anything out like
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
I don't think none of these assistant coaches will probably get a nod, in my personal opinion. I just think you have to bring someone in that's had success, that's playoff success. Like, some people are thinking, well, like, who did Troy have in OKC? I don't think you're bringing in Scotty Brooks.
Yeah.
I just don't. I think Scotty Brooks hit his peak in Washington with John Wall and Bradley Beal. And, those teams were very good. I don't think it's going to be anywhere from OKC. I don't think it's going to be Billy Donovan because he's in Chicago right now. And, like, I think it's going to be a guy that Troy knows. And I'll stand to it. Quin Snyder's been around the game for a very long time. He's been around the game probably since, like, Grant Hill was in college. Like,
Jeez.
he's been around the game for a long time. You need a veteran coach to get these guys in the position where they understand the game. Like, I mentioned Kenny Atkinson, but Kenny Atkinson was a longtime assistant, I believe, with Greg Popovich. So, I mean, if you want to go out the Spurs tree, I mean, the Spurs coaching tree has a lot of success. Mike Budenholzer, Brett Brown's probably a really bad example because he didn't know how to utilize Joel Embiid, but Doc Rivers isn't doing that good either. But I mean, kind of look at those type of coaches that are more of a veteran type of coach that kind of, tell these guys, hey, we're going to move the basketball. We're going to play defense. We're going to communicate because we're not doing any of that right now. But like I said, you have to ask yourself, how do you view these rookies on your team and these second years players on the team? And if you can say, I want Cade to be our small forward, then you can start to build an offense around this team and actually get back to competing.